Before we dive, and I'd like to remind you to hit the subscribe button. Currently only 1.7% of my viewers are subscribed. Once we hit 1,000 subscribers, I'll release an exclusive special video just for you. The galactic war erupted over resources and territorial disputes, dragging countless civilizations into a conflict that spanned light years. It was a brutal affair, waged with advanced technologies and alien strategies that prioritized precision over brute force. Each faction adhered to a set of ancient protocols, designed to maintain some semblance of order even amidst chaos. These protocols outlined the treatment of prisoners of war, emphasizing respect and adherence to strict non-lethal measures. Among these civilizations, humanity was considered a latecomer, a species still climbing the rungs of technological advancement. The older races viewed Earth as a minor player, an outlier whose presence barely registered on their radar. But humanity's entrance into the war was anything but ordinary. From the moment Earth joined the conflict, its forces demonstrated a unique combination of adaptability and ingenuity. What they lacked in advanced weaponry, they compensated for with creativity and an unparalleled ability to learn from failure. Battles that should have been defeats turned into unexpected victories, as humans utilized unconventional tactics to outmaneuver their opponents. Even allies were left astonished by the speed at which humans adapted to alien battlefields and technologies. Stories of human resilience spread rapidly, forcing both friends and foes to reevaluate their assumptions. Yet, it wasn't just on the battlefield that humanity's influence began to grow. Their unwavering commitment to ethics and mutual respect earned them a reputation as principled warriors. They honored the protocols for prisoners of war, treating captured enemies with care that some found almost naive. Despite their reputation for ferocity in combat, humans displayed remarkable compassion off the battlefield. This duality, savagery paired with kindness, made them a perplexing enigma to the galactic community. Then came the incident that changed everything. A rival faction, known for its ruthlessness, captured a human battalion during a desperate skirmish. Instead of adhering to the protocols, they executed the prisoners in a show of defiance. The act was meant to intimidate, a clear message to humanity and its allies. But it achieved the opposite. The news of the massacre spread like wildfire, igniting outrage not only among humans but also within the galactic community. The atrocity was an open violation of the sacred agreements that had governed the war for centuries. For humanity, this was more than an affront, it was a challenge to their very identity. The executions became a rallying cry, uniting a diverse and often divided species. Survivors who had witnessed the aftermath spoke of the brutality with vivid detail, their accounts fueling a growing determination among Earth's population. It wasn't just about revenge. It was about justice, about proving that humanity would not allow itself to be trampled underfoot. As the Galactic Councils convened to address the breach of protocols, the representatives of Earth took center stage. Their message was clear and resolute. If the rules could be so easily discarded, then humanity would have no choice but to redefine the terms of engagement. The speeches delivered during these sessions carried an undercurrent of restrained fury, warning that such barbarity would not go unanswered. For the first time, humanity's voice was not just heard but felt, reverberating across the chambers like a storm. The faction responsible for the massacre remained unapologetic, claiming their actions were justified by the circumstances of war. Their arrogance only deepened humanity's resolve. The galactic community, long accustomed to humanity's principled approach, now witnessed a shift. The same species that had once been dismissed as inexperienced and naive began to exude an aura of unshakable determination. It became clear that Earth was no longer content to merely survive. It was ready to stand as an equal, demanding accountability from even the most established powers. The seeds of transformation had been sown, and humanity was no longer the outlier. The massacre, intended to weaken their resolve, had instead solidified their place as a force to be reckoned with. The galaxy had yet to realize the full consequences of this grave mistake. The evidence of the massacre was undeniable, a stark reminder of the cost of underestimating humanity's resolve. Images and reports detailed the brutal execution of human prisoners, a deliberate act that defied the rules of war and mocked the principles of galactic law. This was not a casualty of battle but a calculated provocation, one meant to sow fear and demonstrate dominance. The faction responsible had underestimated humanity's ability to respond with calculated precision and unrelenting resolve. What followed was not an outburst of reckless anger but a carefully measured response designed to send a message across the stars. The initial reactions on Earth were as expected: anger, grief, and calls for justice. Yet, rather than descending into chaos, humanity channeled its collective outrage into strategic planning. Leaders convened in urgent sessions, military officials drafted contingency plans, and diplomats began navigating the delicate web of galactic politics. The key decision revolved around retaliation. Should humanity lash out immediately, risking further escalation, or take a more measured approach to demonstrate both strength and restraint? Debates raged behind closed doors as the weight of the decision bore down on those tasked with charting humanity's course. The eventual response was neither reckless nor delayed. Humanity's leadership opted for a calculated retaliatory strike, one that would showcase their capability while adhering to their principles. The operation was meticulously planned, targeting key installations of the faction responsible for the atrocity. These were not random acts of destruction but deliberate strikes designed to cripple their war effort without unnecessary loss of life. Humanity's military, already known for its ingenuity, executed the plan with surgical precision, leaving no room for ambiguity. The message was clear: humanity would not tolerate violations of the rules, but neither would they descend into the chaos of senseless violence. The aftermath of the retaliation sent shockwaves through the galactic community. It was not merely the destruction inflicted but the manner in which it was carried out that left an indelible mark. Humanity's ability to strike with such precision, even under the shadow of grief and anger, demonstrated a level of discipline that many had failed to recognize. The faction responsible for the executions found itself isolated, its allies hesitant to defend actions that had provoked such a measured yet devastating response. Humanity's retaliation was not a simple act of vengeance but a calculated move to reassert the importance of the rules of war, reminding all factions that the protocols existed for a reason. The retaliation also served to unify humanity in a way that few events had before. Citizens across Earth and its colonies found common ground in their outrage and their pride in the measured response. This sense of unity extended beyond borders, transcending old divisions to forge a stronger collective identity. The atrocities committed against their soldiers had not broken their spirit but strengthened it, galvanizing their resolve to ensure that such violations would never go unanswered again. Within the galactic councils, the response was mixed. Some species expressed admiration for humanity's restraint, recognizing the careful balance they had struck between justice and retribution. Others, however, viewed the retaliation as a dangerous precedent, fearing that it could escalate the already fragile state of galactic affairs. Humanity's representatives, however, stood firm in their defense. They argued that their actions were not only justified but necessary to preserve the integrity of the protocols that governed warfare. The failure to respond, they claimed, would have emboldened others to disregard the rules, plunging the galaxy into an era of unchecked brutality. As debates unfolded in diplomatic chambers, humanity's newfound reputation began to solidify. No longer were they seen as inexperienced newcomers to the galactic stage. Their response to the massacre had demonstrated a maturity and resolve that commanded respect. Allies began to view humanity as a reliable partner, one whose principles could be trusted even in the face of adversity. Enemies, meanwhile, took note of the precision and decisiveness of their actions, reevaluating their strategies in light of this new reality. Humanity's retaliation was not merely an act of justice but a statement of intent. It declared to the galaxy that they would not be victims, nor would they allow themselves to be goaded into senseless aggression. Their response exemplified a commitment to their principles while showcasing their ability to defend themselves with unmatched precision. The massacre, intended to weaken their resolve, had only served to strengthen it, marking a turning point in humanity's role in the galactic war. The perpetrators of the atrocity had learned a harsh lesson, but the galaxy as a whole now understood a deeper truth. Humanity's resolve was not to be underestimated. The galactic community was unprepared for the shockwaves of humanity's response. For centuries, wars had followed a predictable rhythm, with unwritten rules dictating the limits of conflict. Humanity's calculated and surgical retaliation shattered these expectations. The destruction of key installations belonging to the faction responsible for the executions left no ambiguity about humanity's capabilities or its moral stance. Yet, the real impact was not in the physical damage inflicted but in the psychological reverberations across species. Humanity had emerged as a force not only of resilience but of cold, calculated resolve. Allied species were the first to react, their responses reflecting a mix of admiration and caution. For some, humanity's actions reaffirmed their value as allies. They had proven themselves capable of not only surviving but enforcing the very rules that many species claimed to uphold. The moral clarity of humanity's retaliation, combined with its precision, drew respect from those who had doubted their resolve. However, there were also murmurs of concern. If humanity could retaliate with such precision under extreme emotional duress, what would they be capable of if truly pushed to their limits? Allies began to reevaluate their own strategies, recognizing that humanity's growing influence would need to be factored into future calculations. For their enemies, the response was nothing short of a wake-up call. The faction responsible for the executions had expected retaliation, but not with such surgical efficiency. They had underestimated humanity's ability to not only strike back but to do so in a way that left their allies hesitant to defend them. The precision and restraint shown in the strikes highlighted the difference between retaliation and recklessness. While humanity had delivered a punishing blow, they had done so in a way that upheld the moral high ground. Other adversarial factions took note, realizing that humanity was no longer a variable they could afford to ignore. Diplomatic repercussions unfolded rapidly within the galactic councils. Representatives from various species called for urgent discussions, debating the implications of the incident and humanity's response. Some factions pushed for sanctions against the offending party, citing the blatant violation of the protocols that governed warfare. Others hesitated, wary of setting a precedent that might backfire in the future. Amidst this, humanity's representatives maintained a firm yet composed stance. They articulated their position with clarity, emphasizing the importance of adhering to the protocols and the necessity of their actions. It was a masterclass in diplomacy, blending moral conviction with strategic foresight. The debates within the councils highlighted a growing realization among galactic powers: humanity was no longer a peripheral player. They had demonstrated not only their capacity for force but their ability to navigate the complex web of diplomacy with skill. The shift in perception was palpable. Where once humanity had been viewed as a junior partner in the galactic order, they were now seen as equals, capable of influencing major decisions and shaping the direction of the war. The massacres, intended to weaken their position, had instead catapulted them into the spotlight, forcing allies and enemies alike to acknowledge their newfound stature. Beyond the immediate political ramifications, humanity's actions began to ripple through the broader galactic culture. Stories of their retaliation spread rapidly, becoming the subject of both admiration and cautionary tales. Scholars and strategists analyzed the events, dissecting the precision of their strikes and the restraint they had shown. These discussions often highlighted a stark contrast: the barbarity of the executions versus the calculated justice of humanity's response. It was a narrative that further solidified humanity's reputation as a species that could not be provoked without consequence. The psychological impact on the galactic community was profound. For centuries, many species had operated under the assumption that technological superiority and long-standing traditions would shield them from the unpredictability of newer civilizations. Humanity's response shattered this illusion. It became clear that their strength lay not just in their technology but in their ability to adapt, innovate, and respond with precision under pressure. This adaptability, combined with their moral clarity, created a sense of both admiration and unease. Humanity was a species that valued justice, but they had shown they were not afraid to enforce it when others faltered. Internally, humanity's position in the galactic councils grew stronger. Their ability to articulate the importance of upholding the rules of war resonated with many species, particularly those who had long advocated for stricter adherence to these protocols. Yet, humanity's growing influence was not without its challenges. Some factions began to view their rising prominence with suspicion, fearing that their newfound power might disrupt the delicate balance of the galactic order. These undercurrents of tension highlighted the complexities of humanity's ascent, as allies and adversaries alike grappled with the implications of their actions. As the galaxy absorbed the lessons of the incident, it became clear that the repercussions extended far beyond the immediate conflict. Humanity's actions had not only reshaped perceptions but had also prompted a broader reevaluation of the rules governing warfare. Discussions about revising the protocols gained momentum, with many species advocating for stricter enforcement mechanisms. Humanity played a pivotal role in these discussions, leveraging their newfound influence to push for reforms that would prevent future atrocities. It was a testament to their ability to not only respond to challenges but to drive meaningful change in the aftermath. The faction responsible for the executions found itself increasingly isolated. Their initial defiance had turned into a liability, as former allies distanced themselves to avoid being tainted by association. The once powerful faction now faced not only the wrath of humanity, but the growing disapproval of the broader galactic community. Their miscalculation had not only cost them strategic assets but had also eroded their standing among their peers. It was a harsh lesson in the consequences of underestimating humanity's resolve. As the dust settled, the galaxy was left with a clear message: humanity was a force that could not be ignored or dismissed. Their response to the massacre had demonstrated a level of discipline, resilience, and moral clarity that few had anticipated. They had not only avenged their fallen but had done so in a way that reaffirmed the importance of the very rules that governed the war. The events had reshaped humanity's role in the galactic order, marking the beginning of a new chapter in their journey. The galaxy would not forget this lesson, nor would they underestimate the strength of a species that had proven its resolve. The aftermath of humanity's response to the massacre rippled through their own ranks, sparking intense reflection on the broader implications of their actions. While the retaliation had been meticulously calculated and morally justified, it raised profound questions about the nature of humanity's role in the galaxy. Leaders, philosophers, and citizens alike grappled with the balance between justice and vengeance, questioning how their actions aligned with the values they sought to uphold. These internal debates revealed the complexities of humanity's character, a duality of compassion and ruthlessness that had now been put on full display. The events forced humanity to confront uncomfortable truths about its capacity for destruction. While their actions had been restrained compared to the atrocities committed by their enemies, the precision and effectiveness of their retaliation demonstrated a level of tactical coldness that unsettled even some of their allies. Was this the price of survival on the galactic stage? Could humanity maintain its moral compass while navigating a landscape dominated by centuries-old powers that often prioritized pragmatism over principle? These questions became central to public discourse, driving a cultural introspection that would shape humanity's future policies and philosophies. This period of reflection coincided with rapid advancements in human technology and strategy. The war had already accelerated innovation across multiple domains, but the massacre and subsequent retaliation acted as a catalyst for even greater progress. Research initiatives received unprecedented funding, focusing on defense systems, artificial intelligence, and cybernetic enhancements. Humanity's military, driven by the need to prevent future atrocities, adopted an even more proactive approach to conflict management, prioritizing predictive analytics and early intervention strategies. These advancements not only strengthened humanity's position in the war but also highlighted their ability to adapt under pressure, a trait that continued to set them apart from many older civilizations. At the same time, humanity's influence on the galactic stage began to grow in unexpected ways. Their central role in addressing the fallout from the massacre and their push for accountability resonated with other species, many of whom had long harbored frustrations with the status quo. Humanity's willingness to challenge the complacency of older powers and demand stricter adherence to wartime protocols earned them a new level of respect among both allies and neutral factions. Their actions became a rallying point for reform, sparking discussions about broader changes to galactic governance and the need for more transparent enforcement mechanisms. One of the most significant outcomes of this period was the revision of the protocols governing the treatment of prisoners of war. Humanity's representatives took an active role in these discussions, leveraging their moral authority to push for reforms that would prevent future atrocities. The new protocols, more detailed and enforceable than their predecessors, were a testament to humanity's ability to turn tragedy into progress. They reflected a collective determination to ensure that the massacre would not be repeated, providing a framework for accountability that resonated across species lines. Internally, these developments were accompanied by a shift in humanity's strategic philosophy. While they remained committed to the principles that had guided their early participation in the war, there was a growing recognition that survival required a balance between idealism and pragmatism. This shift was reflected in their diplomatic strategies, which became increasingly sophisticated and multifaceted. Humanity began to forge deeper alliances, not just with traditional partners but also with previously neutral, or even adversarial factions. These alliances were built on a foundation of mutual respect and shared interest, further solidifying humanity's role as a central player in the galactic order. The lessons of the massacre also reshaped humanity's approach to leadership. The events highlighted the importance of resilience, adaptability, and moral clarity in navigating the challenges of a chaotic and often brutal galaxy. These qualities became central to their political and military doctrines, influencing decisions at every level of governance. Leaders who exemplified these traits rose to prominence, shaping a generation of policymakers and strategists who were uniquely equipped to handle the complexities of interstellar conflict. Despite these advancements, the internal debate over humanity's actions during the retaliation continued to evolve. Critics argued that the precision and restraint shown during the strikes, while morally justifiable, carried the risk of normalizing such measures as a default response. They warned against the potential for desensitization, urging humanity to remain vigilant in maintaining its ethical standards. Proponents of the retaliation, on the other hand, pointed to its success in reasserting the importance of wartime protocols and strengthening humanity's position in the galaxy. This ongoing dialogue underscored the tension between humanity's ideals and the realities of survival on a galactic stage. Culturally, the events had a profound impact on how humanity viewed itself. The massacre and retaliation became defining moments, shaping a collective identity that embraced both the strength and vulnerability of their species. Artistic and literary expressions flourished during this time, exploring themes of justice, morality, and the nature of humanity's place in the cosmos. These works reflected a deep-seated desire to understand and reconcile the dualities that had come to define their existence: compassion and ruthlessness, idealism and pragmatism, unity and individuality. As humanity navigated these challenges, their actions continued to influence the broader galactic community. The reforms to the prisoner of war protocols, driven by humanity's advocacy, set a new standard for accountability and justice. Other species began to adopt similar measures, recognizing the need for stronger safeguards against atrocities. Humanity's role in these changes further solidified their reputation as a species that could lead by example, demonstrating a commitment to both principle and progress. The massacre, though initially intended to weaken and intimidate, had instead become a turning point in humanity's journey. It had revealed their capacity for resilience, innovation, and moral clarity, qualities that would define their trajectory in the years to come. The lessons learned during this time would shape their policies, strategies, and identity, ensuring that they remained a force for both strength and justice in an often unpredictable galaxy. The galaxy, in turn, had been irrevocably changed by humanity's response, a reminder that even in the face of tragedy, progress was possible. The events that unfolded in the wake of the massacre left an indelible mark on the galaxy. Humanity's retaliation and subsequent actions became a defining chapter in the chronicles of interstellar conflict, reshaping not only their own destiny but the very fabric of galactic politics. The executions, intended as a display of dominance, had backfired spectacularly, catalyzing a chain of events that would echo for generations. The faction responsible for the atrocity became a cautionary tale, its name synonymous with the folly of underestimating the human capacity for justice and resilience. Across the galaxy, the story of the massacre and its aftermath spread, becoming part of the shared cultural consciousness. Among allies, humanity's actions were hailed as a testament to their integrity and resolve. Stories were told of their unyielding pursuit of justice, painting them as both protectors and avengers. These narratives, passed down in various forms, solidified humanity's reputation as a species that could neither be ignored nor easily subdued. Even among neutral factions, the events were analyzed and recounted, often as warnings against testing the limits of humanity's patience. The enemies who had witnessed humanity's response were left grappling with a new reality. The faction that committed the executions faced unprecedented isolation, abandoned by allies who feared association with their actions. Their standing in the galactic order eroded rapidly, as their defiance turned into regret and desperation. Other adversaries, observing the consequences, adjusted their strategies accordingly. No longer did they see humanity as a mere participant in the galactic war. They now understood them as a power with the capability to shape the rules of engagement, and enforce them with precision and authority. Within humanity's own ranks, the massacre and its aftermath became a defining element of their evolving identity. The unity forged in response to the atrocity persisted, creating a stronger, more cohesive collective spirit. This unity was not merely a product of shared outrage but a reflection of the deep-seated values that had guided humanity's actions. The dual emphasis on justice and restraint became a cornerstone of their philosophy, influencing not only their approach to warfare but their broader interactions with the galaxy. The cultural impact of these events was profound, as humanity sought to understand and articulate its role in an increasingly complex universe. Philosophers and historians delved into the nuances of their actions, exploring the interplay between morality and pragmatism. Artistic expressions flourished, capturing the raw emotions of the time and offering perspectives on the challenges of balancing strength with compassion. These cultural artifacts became a means of processing the trauma and triumph of the massacre, helping humanity to navigate the path forward. Politically, humanity's standing in the galactic community reached new heights. The reforms to the prisoner of war protocols, spearheaded by humanity, became a model for accountability and justice. Their leadership in these discussions earned them respect and admiration, as other species recognized the value of their contributions. Humanity's growing influence, however, also brought new challenges. As they ascended in prominence, they became a focal point for both alliances and rivalries, navigating a delicate balance between cooperation and competition. The lessons learned from the massacre also shaped humanity's approach to governance and strategy. Their response to the atrocity had demonstrated the importance of preparation, adaptability, and ethical clarity. These principles were woven into their political and military frameworks, guiding decisions at every level. Humanity's leaders, informed by the experiences of the past, became adept at managing the complexities of interstellar relations, ensuring that their actions aligned with their values while advancing their strategic objectives. For the galaxy as a whole, the events surrounding the massacre became a turning point, prompting a reevaluation of long-standing assumptions and practices. The reforms initiated by humanity set a precedent for accountability, creating a framework that other species began to adopt. These changes, though initially met with resistance, ultimately strengthened the bonds between civilizations, providing a foundation for a more stable and equitable galactic order. Humanity's role in these transformations highlighted their ability to not only respond to challenges but to drive progress in their aftermath. The massacre also served as a stark reminder of the consequences of underestimating the capacity for resilience and justice. For humanity, it became a defining moment, solidifying their identity as a species capable of navigating the complexities of interstellar conflict without losing sight of their principles. For the galaxy, it was a lesson in the dangers of arrogance and the power of collective resolve. The actions taken in response to the atrocity reshaped the course of the war and left an enduring legacy that would influence interstellar relations for generations to come. As the galaxy moved forward, the events of the massacre were not forgotten. They became a part of the collective memory, a reminder of the challenges and triumphs that had shaped the course of history. For humanity, the lessons of the massacre continued to guide their actions, ensuring that their path forward was one of both strength and integrity. In the annals of galactic history, The story of the massacre and its aftermath stood as a testament to the power of resilience, justice, and the unwavering commitment to principles that defined humanity's journey.